Welcome to Dr. Cush's Exotic Drinks. I'm, of course, Dr. Cush, along with my barback Kyle. I'm not a real doctor, but I did spend almost 2 decades running some of LA's best bars. After years of teaching classes and training bartenders, I want to demystify the cocktail world for you. Let's try a few new things as I open up my bar to everybody. Belly up, chat, and let's have a drink. Hi, hello, it's me, it's Dr. Cush, let's just see.
Goodbye!
Okay, it works. Phew! It was almost an emergency, running around last second trying to get this thing working so I look like a professional broadcaster bartender. Speaking of which, I am Dr. Cush, and this is Dr. Cush's Exotic Drinks. We are here tonight on a Wednesday. We're not normally here on Wednesdays. Wednesdays usually, a break. We are playing a game called Drinker or Stinker, and we are going back to an old favorite of ours, the Robin M. Feller Complete Bartender. This book, one of my favorite books of all time. I love this one. I would really, if somebody knows Robin M. Feller, let Robin M. Feller know that I would be so interested to talk to her because she seems fascinating. She put together a book of, and this doesn't often happen, a lot of drinkers, also a lot of stinkers. The cocktail we're doing today is a cocktail called the Filby. I feel like recently I have been given... Listen, I have not been very nice to Campari recently, so we wanted to try something that has some Campari in it. We wanted to get a Campari situation going. Maybe me and Campari can come back together. We can be friends again. So I went out looking for Campari cocktails, and I found one in this book, The Complete Bartender. I then looked it up online. There's a great website called The Art of the Drink. Art of Drink, with writer Darcy O'Neill. I thought Darcy O'Neill seemed like she knew something, so I read a lot about this cocktail. Fascinating history on this cocktail. Normally with cocktails, you don't get fascinating. You really just don't get fascinating histories. They're either sort of lies or sort of half-truths, or they're just sort of all over the place. So I figured... The Negroni has kind of a fun little history. Count Camillo Negroni, etc., cowboy, etc., pulled back to hang out. The whole situation. I figured, why not do a Negroni variation that also has a good history? And then we will see whether or not it is a drinker or stinker. A lot of things are leading me towards stinker, because with all of this great history and, ingredients that people seem to like, it should be more famous. But it's also won a lot of great awards. So hard to tell on this one. So stick around for Drinker or Stinker. We're going to decide whether the Filby is something you should be drinking or something that is just stinking. Should have really thought of a better tagline for that, but I haven't. We don't really do Drinker or Stinker that much anymore. Let me say hello to all the people. Espen, he's got the name of the game down. Let's see which way the cocktail scale will tip. Stinker or drinker? I like that you put stinker first, because it does seem like it probably is a stinker. It does seem like that, because why isn't it more famous? Why aren't more people asking for Filbys and not Negronis? We're going to find out. Moose, we're going to find out, pal. Bonbon, greetings to Moose. Fine. All right. Hi, Bonbon. Just kidding. She says hi to me later. She says hi, Shawnee P. Shawnee P is here. She's not just saying hi to nobody. Good evening to you. Tiki Tom is here with a hey to everybody. That's how you do it. You got one hey for somebody in the class. You better bring enough hays for everybody. Amy Beer is here. Good to see you, Amy Beer. KT Kyle Tender is in the house. Susan Lang is here. Hello. Just broad opening. She is promising something that I cannot deliver on. We are not doing Tiki Wednesday. We will be doing Tiki Thursday tomorrow. We are doing Drinker or Stinker Wednesday today. Yes, happy belated birthday, Susan. Yes, I think, yes, it was just her birthday. We celebrated it on the show. And, let me say hello to Forlorn Hope. That is a dour name. Forlorn Hope. Bring it, buddy. Let's go. Good to see you. Always love a new person in the bar. Let's get into it. Robin M. Feller is a person that has almost no history online. Cannot find anything about Robin M. Feller. And I read this book all the time. I flip through this book all the time. I think she has a LinkedIn. That's it. Literally wrote a book and disappeared from the planet. Anyway, I get a lot of my drinkers and stinkers from here. Kind of a fun book. If you ever get a chance to pick up a Robin M. Feller classic, trust me, if you are a cocktail geek, page turners. If you are not, it is a recipe book. Okay, so let's talk about this. So a guy named Peter Brennan created this cocktail in the 1970s, right? 1970s, not a great time for cocktail. Really, we can all sort of understand that the late 60s, 70s, 80s, not a really big time for cocktails. There were a couple that came through in this time, but not great. So possibly cocktail competitions were easier to win at that point. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Peter Brennan, who was the head of the, it's called the British Bartenders Guild or the United Kingdom Bartenders Guild. One of those things. They have so many names for where they live over there. Get it together, everybody. You live in Wales. Live in Wales and just be done with the rest of everything. Up your nose, not in your mouth era. Yes, that's exactly what the 70s was. If they could fit a drink up their nose, they would have. Okay, so anyway, he created this cocktail. It is definitely based on a Negroni variation. It's got dry vermouth instead of sweet vermouth, but it's because we're adding a sweet ingredient to it to make it to bring it up. Now, for a long time, people thought that this cocktail was created. I don't know if let's say maybe for a few minutes, a couple of people thought about this cocktail. And when they thought about this cocktail, they said it's created after this guy named Bob Filby. Bob Filby came back from the war and went to go work for Gordon's Gin. Gordon's Gin, a very famous gin company. We know Gordon's Gin. We don't carry Gordon's Gin. We carry other gins. So we won't be using Gordon's Gin. But Peter Brennan created this cocktail, named it after Bobby O. Filby. Well, it turns out Darcy from The Art of Drink, thank you to The Art of Drink for putting this whole presentation together. He basically wrote the whole episode for me. I went out and interviewed Peter Brennan and Bobby Filby. Found out really interesting stuff about these guys. Well, mostly about Bob Filby. Bob Filby was a war hero. He was a guy. He won the cross, whatever the big, hey, well done at war cross for the English. There's a fascinating story I highly recommend. I don't want to paraphrase it and get it all wrong, but basically, this dude was walking around with an anti-tank cannon and a huge machine gun, and he carried, I guess, his buddy. He had a buddy that I guess he's war friend, and they went out, and the buddy carried the anti-tank thing, and he carried a machine gun, and he went out and he killed Nazis. He just went out there and just killed Nazis, and was incredibly good at Nazi killing. So can I say that on thing? German army killing? I don't know if it does YouTube. I don't know. Anyway, he went out and killed a bunch of Germans, or unalived a bunch of Germans with the guns that he had, and also kept a lot of his men very safe. Well, he won the cross. I should have really remembered what the name of it was. He won a very prestigious war award for it, but didn't understand what it was for until much, much later when he got a letter with all of his commendations, and some really important people were commending him, and it just... a kind of a cool thing. He then left war, which I think you eventually have to leave. Maybe Bon has got it right. Maybe it's the Cross of Valor. I don't know English stuff. Yeah, I'm probably going to edit I don't know if you can say is that the new N word on YouTube? I don't know if you can say it anymore. Even in this context, where this is a hero. What do we got? Oh, he went back to work. He left war, went home to work, and he worked for Gordon's Gin. And then from there, he really helped support a lot of the bartenders out in England when, I guess the entire UK, when bartending was not really seen as, I don't know, this is kind of, ugh. You work in a bar, go work in a field, go work in a coal mine, go wash moving cars' windows. Like, that is a better job at that point than bartending. Anyway, Peter Brennan knew Bob, heard Bob's story, wrote this entire, created this entire drink for him, and took it to some Parisian cocktail contests, and he freaking won. He just like not second place, just won. He just won it. Yeah, probably the British Military Cross. That seems more right. I don't know what the Victoria Cross is. Clearly, I don't know much about war. That was never my like area of study. I love prohibition. When people are like, "Oh, you like history from the 20s?" I'm like, "Yes, yes." Let me tell you about Volstead. They're like, "I don't want to talk about Volstead." What about Winston Churchill? I know the Churchill's breakfast. That's a great cocktail. That's how I know history. We're going to be stirring this cocktail. It is a Negroni variation, so if you don't like Negronis, you might want to skip this one anyway. But we are now going to do a little bit of research ourselves to see why the Filby, named after a war hero, not some rich kid from Italy like the Negroni was named after, why is this one not the drink that we drink, and why is it always the Negroni? So let's get into it. We're going to start over here with some gin. I was going to use Brando gin, but I want to give this like as fair a shot as I can. Brando gin is not exactly the same as most gins. So this right here is Rangoni, the Alto gin, very alpine-y gin. It's a dry gin, so it's got a lot of big botanicals, etc. It's in there. Oh, we need 1 1/4 ounces. Now that, to a lot of people, is a very stupid measurement. And I am one of those people. I think that 1 1/4 ounces is a stupid measurement. But we are a drinker or stinker. The idea is we got to get it exactly right. So we're going to want to put in 1 1/4 ounces of some dry gin. 1 1/4. There we go. I'm going to win an award real quick, see if I can't win my own Cross of Valor by just adjusting this camera a little higher so that's the whole thing is in play. There we go. Love that. Okay, so we got our gin in there. Let's get into the rest of it. We're going to be putting in some dry vermouth. We want 1/2 ounce of some dry vermouth. This is French style vermouth. Oh, now it's all cockeyed. There we go. That's way better. This is a French style vermouth. We talk about it all the time. You notice that I just pulled it out of a non-refrigerator, which is the floor. That is not where you should keep your vermouth. All right. Just to let you know, moments before I turn on these cameras, I pulled this out of the refrigerator. Keep your vermouth in the refrigerator. I don't know how many times I have to say it. And I have a prediction. Every time I use vermouth on the show. I got to talk about something, guys. Otherwise, it literally, Robin M. Feller has already written all the books on all the cocktails. You want to read a book about a cocktail? You want to just read the ingredients? You do that. You go read Robin Feller's book. Highly recommend it. We are going to be putting in, let me just get I got to get the exact right ingredients down here. Oh, it's in Robin M. Feller's book. I don't have to change pages at all. Okay. Okay. We need 3/4 of an ounce of amaretto. Now that is interesting because I've seen differently. Dang, everybody's got a different recipe for this one. Absolute writes it as the Absolute website, the vodka one, writes it as 1/3 ounce of amaretto. This is writing it now as 3/4. I'm gonna go off of some instincts here. I'm gonna try it. We're going to put in 3/4 of an ounce of some delicious dry French vermouth. So 3/4 of an ounce of some dry vermouth. Let's get the good camera. There we go. Oh, yeah. Oh, look how slow it pours. Bon suggests you keep your vermouth in the freezer. Highly recommend that you do that. I think a nice frosty vermouth is good. I, unfortunately, use up all of my freezer space in making ice, and thus I'm out of freezer space. Whatever cold area you can do it. Once vermouth once it's opened in the icebox or always in forever? That's a great question, Forlorn Hope. Vermouth should come to you fresh, right? So if you're buying it at the store, it shouldn't have been there for very long. Your best bet is to buy a like whatever the newest bottle of vermouth is, because vermouth will interact with the light. Just like all alcohol, it will evaporate. You'll lose some to what we call the angel's share. Not that much for vermouth because there's not a lot of alcohol in it, but it will start to spoil if it sits on a shelf for too long. So find the newest bottle. Don't go buying old bottles of vermouth. Once it's opened, for sure, then it needs to go into the refrigerator, because now it's interacted with the air, and that air will start to really sort of spoil it. It's just like wine, right? Vermouth is just wine that has wormwood and fortified with sometimes a little bit more alcohol, a little bit more spices, but all it is wine. So wherever you would keep your white wine so that it doesn't go bad, keep your vermouth so it doesn't go bad. Cool? There we go. Okay. We're in. Now, only now will we start to add the rest of our ingredients. We're going to be doing, so that's our booze and our dry. We want to add some sweets into this. So we're going to do this one as a waterfall. This is Campari. Last week I gave Campari a real hard time. I feel bad. I didn't mean to. I think Campari is fine. It worked very well in some cocktails that we made last week. But it doesn't work well in everything. It's a little overpowering, a little tough on the palate, and I recommended that you only put a 1/4 ounce of Campari in anything. I don't think you're going to find a lot of bartenders that are only going to put in a 1/4 ounce of Campari into this drink, so we're going to do a 1/2 ounce. All right, so this is a waterfall. This is 1 1/2, or 1 1/4, 1 1/4, 3/4, 1/2. That's how we're building this one. So we're going to put in 1/2 ounce of some Campari. There are lots of red Italian bitters. You can start to mess around with other versions of red Italian bitters. I think I have like, shoot, it's way back there. I'm not going to go get it. Trust me. Just believe me. I have other red Italian bitters. Campari, just like, just like Fernet, just like all these other Amari, they definitely have their very own flavor. So you can switch them in and out, but be aware of what you're switching in and out, because it will start to change the rest of it. We have a dry Negroni. There is a name for it, and the name escapes me right now, what a dry Negroni is. But we're going to undry this real quick. We're going to go ahead and grab some Amaretto. Oh, Shawnee P is going down a very, very dark road. Wants a shot of Campari. Oh, Bootopia is suggesting to Bonbon that if you don't drink your vermouth fast enough, it will always be gross. I think that might be true. Vermouth won't stay forever, guys. So if you have an old bottle of vermouth, even if it's been in your freezer for a long time, be careful with it. Amaretto. If you guys have heard me talk about Amaro, you guys know the word Amaro. Amaro is in there. Etto, if you are an Etto, so like Giuseppe, the small version of Giuseppe is Geppetto. So it just means little. A libre, a libretto. It's just a small book. Let's see, what other Italian words do I know? Oh, I got this one. Pizza. One of those little bagel rolls. They don't call them bagel rolls, bagel pizzas, bagel bites in Italy. They call them pizzettos. That can't be true. Can't be true. This is Amaretto. It just means a little bitter. If you've ever had Amaretto, most Amaretto is not bitter, even a little bit. It's very sweet. It's made of stone fruit, or like pits of the apricots. It's got a lot of big sweetness in here, kind of a rounded out flavor. There were famous ads for a while, Disaronno ads with Disaronno Amaretto. Some people love Amaretto. Some people, not their thing. Find out if it's your thing, I guess, in this cocktail, because we're only adding a 1/4 ounce. Just a little bit of sweetness, just something to round this thing out. 1/4 ounce of some Amaretto. If you're finding your Amaretto is just like way too sugary sweet, it has none of that depth that I'm talking about, then obviously buy a better Amaretto. You shouldn't be using that much Amaretto. I guess it depends. Like if you're making a bunch of Godfathers, Godmothers, that's 1-to-1 gin or Scotch to amaretto. If you're making a lot of those, okay, you can buy the cheaper stuff and keep the party going. Otherwise, a 1/4 ounce of amaretto up to a 1/2 ounce of amaretto in any cocktail is going to be just fine. And I have found that you can substitute amaretto for orgeat or falernum sometimes. When I met Mrs. Tiki Tom, amaretto was her favorite spirit. There we go. At that point, I friggin' loved it. Yep, that's how that works. Seems like a lot of Campari in there. It might have been my fault. All right, let's go ahead and grab some ice. These are the reject pieces of ice. These are the ones that did not work. You know what they work great for? Stirring, shaking, all that stuff. So we're gonna grab this so that the internet doesn't yell at me anymore. Drop that in there. Whoop. And because it's a Negroni, I think it's important that we use the proper Negroni stirring utensil, which is, of course, another man's finger. Specifically, Gary Gaz Regan's finger. He had this made because of his disgusting habit, and I love, and you don't speak ill of the dead or whatnot, but he would put his finger into your drink and stir your Negroni with his finger. That was like the garnish. So somebody made him this finger. Get in there, stir, stir, stir. Fine, fine, fine. Go, go, go. Because we're using the big cube, we're not as worried about melting points, so we can really just get in here and let loose on that. We don't need a lot of structure for it. Here we go. We're going to go ahead and put this serving up. There is no... let me say that before. Let me see if Robin's going to yell at me real quick. Whoop. Serving a cocktail glass. Hold on. This, technically, is a cocktail glass. How come? Serve cocktails in it. What kind of glass do you serve cocktails in? Cocktail glasses. So if you, by default, if you serve cocktails in it, it is a cocktail glass. I do think that this is what they mean, some sort of coupe, or else they mean one of those V-shaped cocktail glasses like the martini glasses. What are we doing? We're not carrying those. Pour this out. It's got that good Negroni color, that bright red that comes from the Italian red Amaro, or the Italian red bitter. It certainly has everything we need. Oh, shoot. They all do call for an orange. Kyle, do you have an orange ready? Let's see if Kyle has an orange that he's ready to... Oh. Are you waiting at the door? Pretty impressive. Thank you. Thanks, buddy. This right here is one of Kyle's oranges. It seems almost washed. Seems like it seems like Kyle thought about washing it for a minute. Some of the dirt fell off while he was thinking about washing it, but then the rest of the dirt just stayed there. So it's okay, Kyle. Kyle is au natural. We're gonna go ahead and just cut off a little duke here. We're gonna do it over the cocktail. That way we don't lose any of those oils when we put an orange peel into a cocktail like this. We are certainly looking for some flavor to come with it. Let's see if I can. Do you think I can remember how to do any of the fun little things? Let's bring in fun little things, Cam, real quick. Let's give this a nice little cut here, cut here, cut this right there, cut this right there. So we have a nice square here. I want to go here to here, and then I want to go here to here, all the way down. We're just going to give this a little twist. Doesn't make sense until it clicks in. There we go. And then we have this kind of fun little guy right there. We will put this on the outside. Oh, let's put it on. Let's do it in focus. How about? Win some of those Webby awards I keep hearing about. Throw that right there. And there we go. Right there. That's the Filby. Now, I don't know what Bob Filby, war hero, thought about fancy garnishes. I don't know what he thought about putting, cocktails in up glasses. I don't know what Bob Filby thought other than, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, they're shooting at me, hand me my anti-tank gun, because that is what he won his award for. That's the only thing I can tell that he was thinking at one point in his life. I don't know. Okay, this is the moment of truth. This is the drinker or stinker part. I've never made this cocktail, literally just making it out of a book for the first time. Sort of out of a book. I've adjusted it a little bit to what I think will work. So let's see how we did. The Filby, the replacement for the Negroni, with a much better name and possibly a much better story. Yeah. Uh, honestly, I if I was a Parisian in the 1970s, I would have given this an award. I think this is a great cocktail. You're sort of listen, you're going to be hit with Negroni. You're going to taste this, and if you really aren't looking for it or don't know what's going on or are just like blackout at this point, you might not distinguish this from a Negroni. It's very similar. The amaretto does a pretty good job of sweetening up that dry vermouth, so you get a really nice balance on the whole thing. The interesting part is if you sit with it after you've drank it, after you've had a little drink of it, you sort of do the the sigh that we talk about after you drink a drink, and you're left with just like the faintest hint of the amaretto. So it starts Negroni and then kind of ends with that almost that almost like creamy stone fruited full bodiness. Like it, sometimes Negronis I feel like can end a little abruptly. Drinking a Negroni and then suddenly the Negroni just hits a tree and that's kind of the end and you're sort of done with the Negroni. This one lasts for a little bit longer. I know it's one more ingredient and it's not equal parts. I think that's one thing that good luck, low carb cocktail guy. I don't have to tell him this, but please, you can listen to this show and drink. You can listen to the show and drive, but you cannot listen to this show and follow along. All right. So I don't know what kind of car low carb cocktail guy drives. Big famous bartender out in Louisiana. We love him. Go watch his videos over on the Low Carb Cocktail Guy on YouTube. He put out a whole a slew of bangers recently. Please, Low Carb Cocktail Guy, do not start making drinks out of your little mobile bar inside of your car. Don't do it. It never turns out as well as you think it will. Yeah. This another thing I like about it is a lot of Negronis, because this is how Negroni culture goes. It's a bartender favorite. And what do bartenders like? Not thinking. They do not like thinking about what they're doing. We have wells. We call them wells, and we put all the bottles that we're going to use, and oftentimes we can make drinks without even looking at them, because sometimes a barback will come through and we'll switch two of our bottles. They'll like put bottles back, they'll put them in the wrong place, and then suddenly I'm pouring a bunch of rum into my old fashioned, and that's just not going to fly. I've heard what the internet has to say. Rum doesn't belong in an old fashioned. I think those people are wrong. I think rum with old fashioned is a great situation. Anyway, so the Negroni lends itself to that bartender, that fatal flaw of bartenders, which is can we make this easier? Do we have to do it so hard? 1 1/4, 3/4, half, 1/4? I can't remember that. I can't remember that. Can we do it 1 1 1? Okay, fine. You can do it 1 1 1. This is a little bit more complex. A little bit of that Campari is brought back. The sweetness comes from a different place, and it just feels a little bit more well-rounded. I think I'm starting the campaign right now. Filby is the new Negroni. Let's have a Filby week. How about it? remember Bob. I think he's 110 years old right now. He was 90. I think he was 90 in 2010 when this interview was taking place. So I think he's 105, 110 years old right now. God, I hope he's doing okay. Cheers to Bob Filby. Yeah. I like this better. I like it better. I like it better than a Negroni. We have found a true drinker on the show, and not just a true drinker. We have found a new drinker that I do believe could replace another drink. You can mess with this one too. You can mess with anything. You can mess with any cocktail. Figure out the formula and then mess with it. But you can mess with this one by adding a little bit more of the amaretto. If you're interested in a little bit more amaretto, you can mess with this by switching in. If you want this to be like a big sweet drink, but you don't want to put a whole lot of amaretto in there, switch out the dry vermouth for the sweet vermouth. I just want to put something to bed real quick. This drink is not delicious, Kyle, because of the dirt that was on the almost washed orange. I did not squeeze the orange into this cocktail because I was a little afraid of what lives in orange dirt. I don't know what it is. Had a Papa Old Fashioned Curio Nola, rum plus chocolate bitters. Pfft. Pfft. Sounds amazing. How come we don't do that on this show? We should just do that on this show. It'll be better. It'll be better than a lot of the cocktails we make on the show. we should do that. Honestly, Amy, I'm going to talk to the people. I'm going to talk to whoever decides this, and we're gonna make a Papa Old Fashioned with rum and chocolate bitters. Yum. I love it. I don't think the Campari is even too much in this. I don't think the Campari is even. Yeah, I think the Campari is well balanced throughout this, and we went over my normal limit of 1/4 ounce of Campari. We went into a full ½ ounce of Campari, and I'm in. I'm going to try. Next time I'm at a bar, I don't go to bars. Next time I'm at a bar, I'm going to see if they can make me a Filby, and when they don't know about it, I'm going to snicker to the person next to me. I'm going to go. Doesn't know a Filby. I'm going to make them feel silly. Just kidding. Any Irish themed drinks you can think of, you can suggest in this couple days? Yes. Yes. We will, of course, be doing our Irish show this Saturday. What is the Irish show, you ask? It's a normal Saturday show where we will be making 3 drinks, but I will do the whole thing in an Irish accent. Dumbest show of the year? Yes. Yes, it is. It means nothing. My Irish accent is awful. It goes from Scottish to Irish to Hindi for some reason. I feel like I do some sort of Icelandic variation somewhere. And we will also be making. We'll also be making a great cocktail, a bunch of great cocktails. But we'll also be celebrating, and this is very simple for me, my dad's birthday. So it was my mom's birthday last week, my dad's birthday this week. There we go. Oh, sorry, I did not get to it. Yes, any theme drinks. Forlorn Hope, I highly suggest, look up a cocktail called the Cameron's Kick. I think I make it every year. Scotch with Irish, so you're sort of bringing together the whole UK. I think that's the whole idea. Let's bring everybody together. Scotch whiskey, Irish whiskey, with some lemon and some orgeat. It is, and I don't mean this facetiously. I don't know why I would. It's freaking delicious. Oh, it's freaking delicious. That's my Irish accent. The Irish made another great cocktail. The Befuddled Leprechaun is something that the low carb cocktail guy is going to have to describe to us. Let me just see real quick. Befuddled Leprechaun. How do you spell leprechaun? Is there an O in there? L-E-P. Nope. There is not an O in there. E-C. Okay, leprechaun. There's a GIF. 1 second. Cocktail. Oh, you know the first one to come up with that is the first place that comes up. Low carb cocktail guy. Try the try the low carb cocktail, guys. The befuddled leprechaun. Highly can't recommend it highly enough for something that I know nothing about. Highly recommend. Yes, get a pop on over. Find the befuddled leprechaun over on Low Carb Cocktail, guys. Leave, and let me just do this for you guys. Leave a comment, like, share, and if you haven't, and you should have, subscribe to the Low Carb Cocktail guy. Get over there. It's an original recipe. Perfect. Well, there's no way I would have known what a befuddled leprechaun was. Let me just ask real quick, Low Carb Cocktail guy. If I had said, yes, that's a great classic drink, and made up some story about how the befuddled leprechaun came about, would you trust me less? I think you probably would have. I think that it was good of me to not try and act like I know everything. So try the befuddled leprechaun. Pop on over for Low Carb Cocktail guy. The Cameron's Kick, another great. I don't know if it's necessarily an Irish cocktail, but certainly Irishish. It's Irishish. Yeah, low carb for the win, no doubt about it. Okay, that's my friends. That's what I got for you. We're doing another show tomorrow. How come? Didn't do a show yesterday. We do classes Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Any day with a T, we are here. We are pouring the booze. So pop on over, watch us at 6 p.m. Pacific time. We'll be back tomorrow for, and this is important, Tiki Thursday. We don't do a lot of Tiki Thursdays. Normally it's behind scenes or something else on Thursday, Thirsty Thursday, whatever we're doing normally. We are going to be doing a Tiki Thursday tomorrow, so tune in for the Tiki show. And then on Saturday, the Ides of March, we will, of course, be doing our yearly Irish show, where I do the entire show in the worst Irish accent you have ever heard, and we'll be making cocktails for Ireland. Unless it's a Wednesday. Right. We do classes Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, unless it is a Wednesday. Oh, good. Kyle's lawyer showed up. Hello, Kyle's lawyer. Don't encourage her. That's what I got for you guys. Thank you so much for showing up. This, if you get a chance, try the Filby. If you want, let me just pop it up here. Let me see if I just give everybody a little shout out. I know people get upset when I like ramble on or whatnot, but I don't care. I like to ramble. If you want, go check out Shawnee P's Instagram account. It's I know what it is. Like when I see it, I know it. It's like Sean P 82 or something like that. Find Sean Pandabaker over there. I want to hear what he has to say of a side-by-side, the Filby v. Negroni. This fight will not go. There we go. Sean.P 89. I knew it was an 80. Sean.P 89. Pop on over there and see what Shawnee P has to do with a side-by-side of this one. So that's what I got for you guys. Thanks so much for showing up. And what do we always say? We always say, why didn't I get this thing working at the very beginning? Even when I do, it doesn't work at the end. But mostly, we say things like...
Are you Dr. Jinga Janga? Bye!
Bye, guys.
I'm having a party, and you're invited! I'm gonna drink a lot of beer and stay out all night.
May I please have a drink, please?
What did you do to my drink?
It's a floater!